Notice the color scheme that I have applied everywhere on my system. I have it in Starship, which is my prompt. I have it in sketchybar here at the top, which is the menu bar that I use in macOS. I have that color scheme applied in Kitty itself, the color scheme. I have that applied in the tmux bar. Those are the colors that you see here. And I also have the same color scheme in neovim. I created this script that allows me to select between different custom color scheme that I've created, and I can switch between them, and it's going to apply the colors everywhere in the 5 different places that I mentioned. Let me bring it up. I'm going to apply this color scheme dark puccine. I just apply that right now, and as you can see, sketchybar changed its color. The tmux bar also changed its color. My Starship prompt as well, and even Kitty. If you notice, the background in Kitty is a little bit lighter and it has a different color. Just gonna clear this on the right side so you can see the Starship colors. I'm gonna switch to another tmux session here in my dotfiles latest. I'm just gonna bring up neovim, and you're gonna see that it has this new color scheme applied. Let me try a different color scheme again real quick. Just gonna switch here to the left, gonna run this script again, and I'm gonna choose this Eldritch colors script. You're gonna see that the colors are gonna change everywhere in the system, even in Kitty. Just gonna clear the screen here, just gonna rerun the command here on the right. Let me switch to the other tmux session, just gonna quit neovim, and I'm going to reopen it, and as you can see, I have this new color scheme applied. Let me switch back to my original color scheme, which is a custom one that I created. Is this one here, is the one that is selected. Just gonna press enter here, and that is going to apply it everywhere again. Just gonna clear the screen here, and I'm just gonna rerun this command so you can see the colors. I'm also going to switch to neovim, just gonna quit, and I'm going to reopen it, and I have this color scheme applied now. So as you can tell, by executing a single script, I changed the colors in 5 different places in macOS. A little disclaimer, I'm using macOS right now. If you're using Linux, you can follow along because the only thing that I'm doing is using bash scripts. So you can grab the ideas, the scripts, the concepts, and just apply them to your system. The video that you're about to watch is a little bit advanced because I play with a lot of bash scripts. So if you're not familiar with bash or the command line or neovim, and you just want to get all these configurations applied on your system, you could try getting my dotfiles. I have a video in which I explain how to clone my dotfiles and apply them to your macOS computer. You will be able to find that video on the top right corner. Just keep in mind that if you follow that, you're basically going to have my exact same configuration on your system, but you can have it as an option if you think this is too advanced and you just want to apply the settings. If you know what you're doing, just follow along, create the scripts, and you'll be good. Okay, that's it for the disclaimer. Let's go back to the video. I'm going to show you how to do this yourself. The reason I'm doing this is because I released this video a few days ago, Dark Eldritch Color Scheme variant in neovim, and in that video, I explained to you how this is applied to neovim, and you want to apply the changes that I'm going to show you in this video, go and watch this video as well. In this video, I'm going to cover the rest of the things, that is sketchybar, tmux, the Starship prompt, and also the Kitty colors. So let me bring up the script again. This is the colorscheme-selector.sh script. If you notice, the path is in my dotfiles directory. I'm going to leave a link to my dotfiles in the video description so you can go and grab all of this. The information is available publicly. Let me switch there real quick so that you can see where this is. So here is my dotfiles latest bookmark. Let me go there. Here is the repo. If you like this repo, make sure to start it, and you will be able to find this script if you follow the path. Notice that it's under color scheme, colorscheme-selector.sh. I come here to color scheme, colorscheme-selector.sh. So here's the script. So every time that I mention a file in my dotfiles, just follow the path to get to the file. Let me switch back to the terminal and I'll show you the file there. Just gonna switch to my dotfiles in neovim in my other tmux session. This is the file that I was talking about. Here is the path at the top. You will be able to find the path of each one of the files at the very top on this line. The 10 that you see here is just the way that I navigate between buffers in neovim. If I bring up telescope buffers, you're gonna see that I have 10 buffers open and I can switch between them that way. I have a video for that as well. I just released it yesterday, I think. You'll be able to find it on the top right corner. But this script, color scheme selector, is just something that I created today, a moment ago, that allows me to select the color scheme, and it shows me an FCF menu. For this to work, you will need to have FCF installed. Just go to the repo and install it. It's pretty simple to install. Or if you don't know how to do it, just search in YouTube and you'll be able to find hundreds of videos explaining that. But if you have FCF installed, this is the first step. If you want to use the color scheme selector, it's optional. You don't need to do it. You could also avoid this and execute the script directly. Notice that the only thing that this color scheme selector does, execute the script that I have highlighted here, colorscheme-set.sh. The command is down here and it just passes the color scheme. So if you want to avoid the selector, there's another way in which you can apply this. Let me go back to my home directory. Just gonna clear this. Let me bring up my command history. Just gonna search here color scheme, and here, if you notice, I call this script colorscheme-set.sh, and then next to it I specify the name of the theme. So you can use the selector, or you can call the script this color scheme set and pass an argument. If I run this command, the color scheme is applied as well. So it works either way, but I personally think it's faster to use the selector because it shows you which themes you have in that directory, and you can easily select one. Just gonna switch back to the original one. Okay, so let's switch back to neovim. So this is the color scheme selector script. The only thing that it does, like I mentioned before, is to call this colorscheme.set.sh. Let me bring up this file. Just gonna bring telescope, gonna paste this in here, color scheme set. Notice the path for this file is in my .files latest as well. In this folder, zshrc colorscheme-set.sh. You can find that in my .files. Notice here that this script receives an argument. This is the information that I'm passing when I call it this way. darkwitching.sh is the argument. So that's how I create this color scheme file variable. And here's the name of the theme that was passed as an argument. So notice where I have these stored in this github.files latest directory. So if you're gonna put them in a different directory, you have to modify this as well. Let me show you where this color scheme list is. I'm just gonna bring up mini.files. I'm gonna come back here to the color scheme directory. I have two directories here. One of them is active, the other one is list. So make sure that you have these two directories. The list, here's where I have the color schemes specified. All of these are in my .files, and here is where the active color scheme is. This is going to be created automatically, this file. So just make sure you have the active directory. Here is the color scheme selector that we were looking at. So make sure you get this color scheme directory from my .files. And make sure that this matches, and also this has to match as well. Notice down here that this is what creates the active color scheme.sh file, which is the file that I mentioned that was here in color scheme active. It's going to be automatically created. When you modify the color scheme, this file is going to change as well. That's something that happens in the background. I run a diff on the file. So even if you don't change to a different color scheme, but you select the same file, but you made changes on it, those changes will be applied. Okay, so I have a few important functions here. This generate kitty config. This is what generates the kitty config file. As you can see here, here is the path for that file. So this is where the file is going to be created. Make sure that this directory exists because that's where it's going to put it. And the only thing that it's going to do is to create this file with different colors based on these variables. As you notice here, I'm just referencing variables in this file. If I keep scrolling down, all you're gonna see is variables. Where do these variables come from? I'll show you in a minute, but I'm going to show you here where this file is so you can have a better idea. Let me bring up mini.files. Let me go back here to the kitty directory, and here below you're gonna see this active theme.conf. This is the file that will get automatically generated in this folder by this function that we have here. If we keep scrolling down, I do the same thing for Starship. Just specify where this Starship file is going to be. This is the path for that file. And the same thing, I just generate the Starship configuration file using variables as well. If we scroll down here, you're gonna see a few variables, which are the ones that define the colors. I have another variable here, here, and all over the place. We have one more variable here, here. Having those variables there is what allows me to generate new files that will get the colors based on the theme that you select. Okay, so above I had the functions to generate both the Starship config and the kitty config. Let me show you how I call these functions now. If I scroll down and if there are updates, I perform the following actions. This is what replaces the active color scheme.sh. This is the part that I mentioned that is going to grab the colors, gonna source the colors, so that is going to pull the values that I have on the variables. Here I call the function to generate the kitty configuration file. Notice that I just specified the function name in here. In this section here, I set the tmux colors, which is another script. Let me bring it up real quick. Let's go back here to tmux, tools, this directory, set tmux colors.sh. And in this script, I basically set colors for the different items on my tmux bar. That's all I do. If you notice, all of these are related to colors. I have a lot of variables there, but I also source this active color scheme file, which is the one that pulls the values for those variables depending on the color scheme that you select. Then I source the tmux configuration file. That's why you see that the changes apply automatically in tmux. When I change the color scheme, I just show this message. Sketchybar, which is the macOS menu bar on the top, will also get the colors. So I just reload its configuration. Let me show you how Sketchybar gets its colors. I'm gonna bring up mini.files again. I'm going to go to this Sketchybar directory. This is the theme that I'm using. And if I go to this colors.sh script, you will notice that it's an executable script. So from here, I source the file to get the values from the variables, and I just replace them here. So you will be able to see the variables here for each one of the colors so that it's dynamic and it changes when I switch my color scheme. After doing that, I generate the starship config, which is the function that we had above. And the last part of the script is to reload Kitty without closing it and reopening it. Because usually to reload the Kitty configuration, you have to exit and reopen it. But if you run this command here, it's just going to reload it. I also tell Starship which theme to use, and I also have to tell Kitty which theme to use. I'm just gonna bring up the kitty.conf file. Gonna go to the top of this file. You're gonna see here that this is the way that I specify or that I select the theme, which is the one that will be dynamically configured or dynamically created by my script. So make sure that you specify that in your Kitty configuration. And the same applies for Starship. Let me bring up my zshrc file. I have it here. Let me search for Starship. Here's the Starship configuration. And this is the way that I select my Starship configuration. I have this Starship config variable, and it points to this active config.toml file that was generated by my scripts. One other thing that you need to be aware about regarding tmux is that you need to execute the set tmux colors.sh script. Notice that this is my tmux.conf file. You will have your own tmux configuration file. This executes this shell command that is going to execute the script that will set the colors. This is the tmux theme that I'm using, Capuchin, but it's modified so it has different colors. So that's why you see this on the screen. I have a tmux related video. It's kind of old, still has some relevant information. So if you're interested in me creating a tmux video in which I go over my tmux configuration and how I use tmux, let me know down in the comments and I can show you everything I know about tmux. Something else that you will see in my zshrc file is that I define my color scheme there. Let me switch to the zshrc file. I have it open here. Let me go to the top of the file and you'll see that I specify the color scheme profile here. Let's say that I switch from my original color scheme. I just commented that line and I switch to this darkpuccine.sh file. I'm gonna source my zshrc file. I have a key map in neovim for that. That is leader F as in file and Z to source the file. That is going to apply the changes. I'm just going to quit neovim, reopen it. I have this color scheme applied. But what if I go to the selector here and I choose a different theme? Let's say that, for example, I'm going to choose this, my original colors. I'm just going to switch everything. I'm going to quit neovim. Notice that this was applied. But if I source my zshrc file, this is the theme that is going to be applied because it's hard coded in here. And that's the way that I want to have it configured. Let me source the file again. Just going to press leader F, Z, and the theme was applied automatically as well. Just gonna quit neovim, just gonna go back to my home directory. So it doesn't matter if I choose a different theme here on the selector. This is good for me to test new themes, but my configuration comes from my zshrc file. So whatever I have set here is what is going to be defined as a theme. And where do I configure this? Here, I just set the variable, but let me look for this variable down here. So this is why it happens, because when I source my zshrc file, it's going to call my colorscheme-set.sh script, and it's going to pass this as an argument. One of the questions that you may have is, can you create custom color schemes really easily? Of course you can. The only thing that you need to do is come here to the color schemes directory here under list. Grab one of these files, just make a copy. For example, I'm just going to copy this file, just going to give it a different name, just gave it that name, just going to save this, gonna open that file. Now let's just put some random colors in here. Let's go to Google and search for something. Okay, so I just searched for Mario Bros hex colors combination. I got this file here and I don't think this is going to look nice, but let's give it a try. I'm just going to grab these colors and I'm going to put them in the file so we can see what we can come up with. Okay, so this is what my file looks like. I just grabbed the colors here. I just pasted them here in random places. Notice that some of them repeat. Now let me go to my home directory and I'm going to bring up the color scheme selector. It shows up here. This is the one that we created. Let's apply it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what neovim looks like. Just quit neovim and I'm going to reopen it. Looks horrible to me. I don't like it, but some of you might. Let me keep scrolling down so you can see how this file looks like. Let's bring up a Lua file. Let's see how that looks. I'm just scrolling down here. So you can play around with the colors here. You can add more colors, switch the orders instead of the red here, which is the one that is shown here. You can maybe put the blue here and put the red down here. Just play around. Notice that I'm repeating this color here so you can add some other color variations. Also repeating this here. So it's a matter of taste. If you do find something that you like, make sure to share it down in the YouTube comments so others can test as well and they can let you know what they think. If I want to switch back to my original color scheme, I just come to the selector again and I just come here, select it, and we're back. If you have questions, leave them down in the YouTube comments because that is going to help others that have the same question as well. I'll try to answer them and help you.